What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. You know what it is, your boy John.
Fucking white belt slayer here, ready to fucking slay some goddamn rats.
There we go.
Yeah.
Today we got a special guest, Nathan. He's
sir.
a brown belt under Professor Omar as well. So figured we'd bring
Stop talking.
some
How much you
new
weigh,
people
fatty?
in. Man, why is he always being so negative?
Where you at? You looking thick today.
I'm not actually. I'm
Looking thick.
I weighed in this morning.
Forearms, man. It's like a roadmap. Like there's the 15 freeway right here.
I weighed in this morning at 213.4.
Oh, that's still down, so that's good.
Yeah, I think it was 214.
No, 4 or 5 pounds.
I think I only lost like a pound and a half this week.
What were you doing?
Not enough, apparently. I need to be like 2 pounds a week. So
You better go change your weight, homie.
I did do the sauna like yesterday. I did like a sauna for 15 minutes. And then I went and jumped in the pool, which is probably close to like 40-some degrees. And I did that for 3 minutes. And then I went back into the sauna for another 15.
You think you're fucking Rogan?
And then I did that 3 times. And it fucking sucked. It was not fun, but it felt good after.
Is today going to be the day you admit that you're on growth?
On growth? I'm not on no growth.
I don't think an admission is needed.
Hey, you hear that little sneak hiss right there? An admission is not needed. That's
I am too broke to afford some fucking growth hormones. I think I'm over here, the Liver King, spending 12. What does he spend? Like $12,000 a month on fucking
some crazy shit like that.
Whatever happened to the white belt wrangler?
That's going to come back. The white belt wrangler's coming back.
Because I feel like white belts need more wrangling than they need
I
slaying.
wrangled some a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
I've been off this
They need
week.
it.
Yeah.
They need it. They yearn for it.
You know,
yearn for it?
They yearn for wrangling.
It must have been us in the DMs in that group when we were talking about fucking beating up white belts.
Yes,
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a check that needs to be put in place, you know. But
I think they need to bring back like old school hazing for white belts.
Yeah.
That's why I say like take them all to the sushi place and then leave them with the
I was
check.
watching.
with that. That's
know,
funny.
You know, Jiu-Jitsu, whatever his name is, the Jiu-Jitsu guy.
Yeah.
He was doing a belt promotion that he just released, and he was talking about some of the black belts, and he was talking about back in the day that like their gym when they first started was like, it was just like meatheads. Like you show up and you get your ass beat, and then if you come back, fucking great. If you don't, then I guess you couldn't handle it. And that's how it was. And I think that's how it was in a lot of old school gyms were like that. Where nowadays it's more business minded. You got like Henner or whatever doing his thing, and then a lot of schools taking that approach to. I mean, how many schools have we gone to that you visit and they start on their knees? A lot.
Yeah.
And why do they do that? They don't want injuries.
Right.
And they want you to come back.
That's the weirdest thing when you go do like a drop in somewhere and they start and it's like, okay.
Yeah,
like,
it's so weird.
Like,
One of the weirdest like experiences I had of that, I was training at Rodrigo Pinero's in San Antonio, and I was getting beat up by everybody. And I was talking to the dude. I was like, I don't know how to start from my knees. Like, what? I don't know how to. Like, it takes my whole game away. So I'm sitting there and I'm trying to like pass from my knees. I was like, can I stand up to pass? And he looks at me. He's like, yeah, you can stand up. And I was like, well, why don't we just start standing up?
Yeah.
And then this would all be avoided. He still smashed me. I was like, it's like when I first got my blue belt and there was like fucking some brown belt smashed the fuck out of me. But
yeah, it is different because a lot of people's places start on the knees, and you're right. You're like, I don't know how to start from here. Like,
I just lay down. I'm like, yeah. But back to wrangling white belts real quick. That's my favorite subject. My favorite subject, or my favorite thing to do with white belts is like just lay down, play half guard. And then when they're coming, they're like trying to cross face you, and they're like grinding on you, and then you just get that leg and you sweep them, and you see the fear in their eyes. You see you come up on them, and you look at them, and they're like, "Oh, I fucked up," and it's like, "Yeah, you did fuck up."
and the little sound they make too while it's happening is like it's intoxicating.
Because that means
that's what we were saying last time when we were talking about when you're choking someone, and I was like, "There's something about that gurgling sound when you start hearing it." You're like,
you know you're doing it right.
Yeah, you're doing it right. You're like, "Oh, I love that sound." I'm not weird.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not fucked up in the head.
I gotta start choking people like that more.
Yeah, man. It's good. It's a good feeling.
Yeah.
It gives you a little bit of...
The worst part is when it's happening to you and you're making that
Yeah,
sound. I know it.
That's where I went.
You don't got it yet. I'm just...
As soon as you started saying that, that's where I went. Because I was still thinking when Albert got me last time. Because I wasn't choking. I just took a breath. I was like, and I was like, oh. I was like, who heard it? I hope nobody heard it.
Kyle had me yesterday, and I was like, God damn it. And you feel like an idiot too when you're fucking sitting there snorting. You know what's weird because as you move and progress, it takes a minute because I used to like when I hear that I was like, oh, I'm sorry,
Not
let
me.
go. And then now I'm like, no, and harder.
Like you said, like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah.
Getting warmer.
Yeah, exactly.
Warmer.
Before we get into Nathan's story, let's talk about that roll with Kyle yesterday. This motherfucker tried to hit a fucking fireman's carry from like 19 feet away and basically just dove on the ground.
No, I didn't dive on the ground. I lost my grip. My grip on this collar went off, and then he fucking just planted on top of me.
You know, like when you're rolling, or you're not rolling, you're watching people, and you can see clarity. Like you see it so clear, like do this and do that. It's like you're playing a video game. So you dive in. Kyle looked at me in the eyes. He looked over at me like, what the fuck? And then he sprawled on me and smashed you.
You know what it is? You know what it is? Like,
Like
I was thinking
the
about
wrong buttons.
You know, like
yeah, it was like I was like, oh fuck, like my controller.
As soon as I started laughing, I was like, fuck. You know, like when you try to hit something on someone that's like obviously way better than you, and you just don't ever do like you don't go into it with full confidence. Sometimes you're just like, I'm just gonna fuck it. I'm just gonna try it. So you don't. Everything's off. You're like, I'm just gonna try it. And you don't even do it full. Like you just kind of like, because it's not gonna work anyway.
You didn't even pull him into it.
He was leaning into me. That's why I went for it. You
gotta pull him.
Yeah, and I tried to. When I went like this, my hand went boop, and it popped right off his fucking collar.
And it worked that grip strength.
It did not. It did not work very well.
What are you doing?
How did you lose a grip?
Yeah.
Zoom in,
Talk
but
that
like,
shit.
look at you lose a grip.
I'm just gonna rip into this diet monster over here.
It's the weight cut. All the water coming
weight
out.
Cut, bitch! You're not cutting weight.
I am cutting weight.
Diet.
Well, I was 220.
Cutting weight.
I was 220 2 weeks ago, and now I'm 213. It's a weight cut. I got to get down to 2.
First of all, we record this shit. Everybody can see it. Let's go back to the last time he said he was 220. That was 3 or 4 weeks ago when he said you were 220.
Yeah, so it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Bitch, you said 2. You didn't say 3.
2 weeks ago I started this diet, and so that right when I started I was 220.
You were already dieting before that.
No,
and then you decided, I need to get a nutritionist.
I wasn't dieting before that. I just came back from vacation.
How long were you on vacation for?
Like 8 weeks, almost a month, but longer than a month. Because I went to Europe, I came back, I worked for 2 weeks, and then I was off all of December. So all I did was eat junk food. It's a long fucking vacation, bro.
I'm tired of this excuse.
The worst possible.
Let's talk to Nathan.
Oh yeah, there's just food everywhere. There's pie, candy, food. Bread, like everything I could get my hands on. I was like,
I was eating like a motherfucker. But granted, I wasn't already dropped in weight. But I was eating everything I could eat over the holidays. I didn't gain any weight.
I don't believe
that's because I was putting in the work, homie.
Shit. You can put in the work more than me. Fuck out of here.
Maybe not more, but with more intensity.
No, not even.
It's because you work out like a girl on your Smith machine.
Not even. You couldn't handle a workout with me. You would stop me before we finish. I'd be halfway through and you'd be like, you were still going?
No.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
Never.
Anyways.
Sounds like a challenge.
Let me get my.
This is how we ended up drunk doing
sounds like a special episode.
This is how we ended up drunk doing fucking bench presses with Jonah's fucking.
I still when I can lift my shoulder, we're back. Give me 6 weeks. I think I need 6 weeks. I'm gonna start working out again on Monday, just like all the movements I can do. But I need. It's fucked. It ain't good.
Is it like cracking or is it just pain?
No, I think I did maybe a minor tear, like a really bad sprain, like whatever's right here. Like Dan was thinking it's a rotator cuff. It was weird because I'll tell a story real quick. I was rolling with somebody, and I think he was trying to mount a triangle me maybe, and I tucked my arm under and I pushed him over my head, but I went to go limp arm out with my arm that I hurt. So you can just kind of throw your arm out and just get loose and get out. So I pushed him over, and when I got loose, he either tried to collect it for something or he fell on it. Because I tapped in the transition, and he laid there, and I just sat up, and he was like, "Oh no, we can keep going." I was like, "I tapped," and he was like, "Oh okay." And we kept rolling, and I rolled 3 or 4 more rolls that night, and it felt fine. It just felt like a strong submission. It felt fine, and then I couldn't sleep on it. It was terrible, and the next day I was like, my arm doesn't move.
There's been a couple times where I go with that underhook on someone's leg, and they position their leg, and I can literally feel it's starting to
burn,
pull, maybe pull where I have to just.
Yeah.
Give in. I was if I don't give in, this shit's going to tear right up.
Yeah.
That sucks.
But I mean, I don't think it's, I thought at first I tore it bad because I couldn't put weight on it. I couldn't lift. I couldn't do this. I mean, I can do a little bit more than that now, but I couldn't.
What would Bobby do?
Keep lifting? No, he took 8 months off. He took a long time off.
Not from jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, he did.
No, he didn't.
At least 6.
No, he didn't.
Months. Yes, he did.
He was back in the gym within a month.
No.
Working out again. I bet we're gonna have to ask Bobby. I'm
All
pretty
right,
sure.
let's get into the story, Nathan.
Yeah.
So you're a 3-stripe brown belt?
3-stripe brown belt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing jiu-jitsu for?
That's a long story.
Well, that's what we're here for. We got time.
So when I was like 12, right around the time of UFC 1, in 1993, I was at a Taekwondo school, and the guy that ran it actually like knew jiu-jitsu somehow, some way, so he would have they called them ground fighting classes. And so, like, when I was 12, I knew what a triangle was. I knew what an armbar was, an Americana, and some guard passes and stuff like that.
If you think back on that time, do you think it was like a real triangle, like how you would hit a triangle now? Is it the same?
Well,
did he show it like a real triangle?
Well, the triangle was the triangle,
Yeah.
but it was like the setups were far less,
okay.
sophisticated. I mean, it
It's a
was
different
like
game then.
Yeah, I mean, it was like for instance, like the mounted arm bar was when somebody would put their arms up, and then you would kind of act like you're giving them CPR,
Yeah.
and press up, and then swing the
They
leg
showed
all
the
the way
kids
around.
that.
I've
They showed
seen
the kids
kids,
that.
yeah,
Yeah, they showed
not
the
kids,
kids
but I've
that.
seen people, adults teach it that
Yeah,
way. So, yeah.
they get weight off.
That stuff was all from like the Horion Gracie tapes from the
Yeah.
early '90s, and so that's where I had assumed he was getting this stuff
Was
from.
that the
but
Gracie in Action tapes, I think they were called?
I think that's what
Yeah,
it's called.
I
It
think
was where
that's-
Horion and Hoist were
Yeah.
were demoing this technique. So
Yeah.
so that was like my first exposure to it, and it was like I learned it at a point where it's like that stuff stuck with me a long time. But like then I moved out to Riverside, and then I hadn't done. It was one of those things like I was always like I should get back into it as an adult, and then finally in like 2007, it was like 2007 or 2009, something like that. I went back to it was Gracie Baja at the time, but it was where
The original one by the
it was the original one by over off of Tanya and Sanderson.
I didn't know that was there for that long, because when I found out about it, it was probably 2015. So it had been there for a while when it closed.
Yeah, it had been there. I don't know how long it had been open since when I got there, but there were some people there that we know now. Like Albert was there as a white belt.
Wow.
His name's John. He's the one who lives up in like Idlewild. He's a purple belt now. He was a purple belt.
Yeah,
he was a purple belt back then.
Oh, wow.
And I remember rolling with him way back then.
Wow.
And so it was the main professor there was Professor Ricardo.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
but
was he teaching there?
He wasn't teaching there. He was teaching in Temecula. I think it's the same spot he's at now.
Yeah.
But there was a guy named Adam who was a brown belt that was doing the teaching there. So I was there. I was there for maybe. I wasn't there very long. Maybe less than a year when I decided to get into no gi, because I was like, gi was frustrating the hell out of me back then.
Slowing
It
you
was
down,
it was super frustrating. And so there was a place that opened up behind Home Depot over on Devonshire and Sanderson.
Oh, like those buildings behind Home Depot?
Yeah. It was
really?
it was a place called Primetime MMA. And I remember driving by. Because I wanted to learn like MMA grappling and stuff like that. And it was really frustrating learning like gi techniques. And then one day I was driving over to Home Depot and I saw them installing a cage in this place.
You're like,
and I got out.
yeah.
I was like, "Are you serious?" And he's like, "Yeah, we open next month." And I was like, "All right, I just gave him like a thumbs up from the car." But then I went and signed up there and started doing some no-gi grappling for maybe a little over a year. And that's where I met people like Mike Hernandez, who I don't know if you know him, but he's at Fight Sports. He's at Fight Sports now, but he was at Omar's for a while. And that's where I met Jared, Team Quest. Then I got this job that just kind of fucked my schedule up, and I had to take like 3 years off of that, and so I just completely stopped until 2016 or 2017.
Were you a white belt up until that point? Did you ever?
I had been a white belt for like ever, I was a white belt up until just because it was like
Moving around and stuff.
it was, and so I was a white belt. I was a one-stripe white belt coming into Omar's. Because I went back to Quest. Actually, I take that back. I went back to Quest in 2015 or something like that. 2017. And then got 2 stripes on my white belt there. There was the coach's name. They were a checkmat BJJ place, and the coach there was Corey Grant. He was he was a really good college wrestler, and did some pro MMA. So it was cool learning. It was cool learning from him too. But then one day, Mike Hernandez called me and told me I think he was getting back into it or something like that. And he told me about that he was over at Omar's, and I was like, I'll go check it out. Now keep in mind, when I was at Quest, I was a white belt, but I would do pretty good. You know, I went over to Omar's the first night to go check it out, and they put me with this girl for like the first round. Who you know Anthony.
Skinny Anthony?
No, he doesn't go there anymore. He used to go to Omar's. I think he went to Fight Sports for a while.
Oh, with the curly hair? He's a black belt.
He's a black belt.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know you're talking about.
yeah.
Yeah.
His wife,
Oh yeah, she's a savage.
dude, she fucked me up, like legit, like it was like I was trying.
Yeah.
And she just would like.
What was she?
She was a purple belt.
I think she's like a savage. But, I'll tell you a story about that afterwards.
Dude, she because you approach a woman's role a little different, so you're thinking, okay, I'm gonna get technical and things like that. I put grips on her. She smacks that grip right off, and nobody had ever done they didn't really do that kind of thing at Quest where like grip breaks and stuff like that.
At Quest was you said it was like a Checkmat affiliate. So
Yeah.
was there like an actual gi, like a gi curriculum, or was it like more of a no gi guy who threw a gi on?
He was a black at the time. He was a black belt. Corey was a black belt through Checkmat with the gi, and we would learn gi stuff. But we would learn a lot of X guard type of stuff, stuff that was like too advanced for me to accept at the time.
Sure.
Like I couldn't it was like and it was like an hour and a half class where we would learn like 5 techniques and then a half hour of sparring. It was like, and I would absorb none of it.
Yeah, I understand.
It's because it was like I didn't have really a sense of the fundamentals.
They talk about the language. You didn't know the language,
Exactly. And so then when I went to Omar's, people were just beating the brakes off of me with fundamentals. And the first one was her, and I'm not kidding you, man. I was trying. Yeah. I was like really trying, like as a man.
Yeah.
and she beat the fuck out of me. She tornado choked me.
Wow.
It was like I was like, all right, sign me up.
You're like,
I was like, all right, sign me up.
This is where I got it.
Right? What year do you think that was?
That was in 2018, I think, maybe 2017 or 2018, I think. So
I was listening to Eddie Bravo talk about like when he first started, and he had like a similar experience where he just got fucked up. Like his first experience was like he just got destroyed.
You get embarrassed and
So what he was saying was you're either two types of people. You're either the person who's like, I need to learn how to fucking do this, or you're like,
or you run.
I am never coming back here.
I don't remember anything about that. I remember that night, man. It was humbling.
I think up until like my 3rd stripe at white belt was so fucking bad, I blocked it all out because I can't remember shit.
PTSD.
I remember getting beat up at tournaments, like sitting down and like, what the fuck just happened? Yeah. Like, and then just getting beat up in the gym so bad that I blocked all that shit out. Now you know the white belt slayer.
So that was like, for you, it was like wow, these guys. From my perspective, it seems like you're like, oh, there's 2 different classes here. This is like higher level than what I'm learning over here.
Right. Well, it was more like the fundamentals were like I saw that. That's like, okay, I'm missing this piece, and I'm getting beat with it, so I know that it works. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, okay, let me. And what I liked about it was, I think at the time it was like he was teaching. He would teach like 1 or 2 techniques a night, and they were like simple techniques. They weren't like. They weren't like.
That's still what he does, basically.
Yeah. And it was like those are the things that I remember those techniques. Yeah. But it's like if you learn 5 in an hour,
it's hard to remember.
You're not.
It's just like throwing a bunch of stuff at you.
Yeah, and it was like. Because I over there it was like I would spar we would spar every time for like a half hour straight of sparring, but it was like for like 2 years or something. I felt like I was not improving like at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
But then when I went to Omar's, it was like, and I started learning like the more basic techniques and the fundamentals, and it was like okay, I felt myself getting actually better, and it was like and it was a good choice.
Yeah.
At that point in time, was Omar teaching or was it Kleber?
Omar was teaching at the time, and then I think in the mornings, it was when Professor Junior.
He was there.
Professor Junior was here first.
Okay.
And then Professor Junior left, and then Professor Kleber came, and then Professor Kleber left again, and then Omar, and then I think Junior came back for briefly.
Junior was here last year, I think. I didn't get a roll with him. I missed him or anything, and like I misunderstood the translation of Pojada. And I told him, I was like, oh, we missed out. He doesn't speak English. He just smiled. So I said something to him. I was like, why are you ducking me? He looked at me and smiled. And I was like, next time you give me Pojada. And his fucking eyeballs changed, and he was like, Pojada. And I was like, oh, fuck. I had to ask him. I was like, what the fuck does Pojada actually mean? It translates to fight. It doesn't translate to rolling.
It's like he's one of those ones. Like as soon as he puts hands on you, you can see his knuckles, and it's just like, man, you feel it. Like
I saw him rolling with Alberto, and like Alberto fucks everyone up. He's really slick, you know. Yeah. He's not grinding you out, but he's really slick and he moves, and you can't catch him. I was rolling. I watched because I was there when Junior was there, and I looked over and I locked eyes with Alberto, and he was just like, "Save me!" I just looked at him, and I was like, "Oh." Fuck.
We used to do in the mornings. He would do these like insane, like because there was a while where I was doing 6 a.m. like for like a year, and we were doing just these like spider guard drills where it was like by the end of the thing, your knuckles were all worn off and but like that was his.
Because I remember when he was showing a lot of spider guard stuff and sweeps when he was here. He was here for like 2 months for World Masters.
But which is
he ran the camp.
He's a big guy. That's an interesting technique for his size.
So I don't know if you were doing it. Were you doing it?
No, I was traveling so much around World Masters.
He ran for one of the years when he was here. He ran the camp for us for the comp camp whatever. And so he would just take all of us out to the mat. Dude, that shit was hard. I just remember like he would just wreck us, and it was just like, And it was good though because he would have you roll hard, but then he was watching everything you do, and so he would correct you like instantly. He was like, "Nope, you got to do this. You got to do that." You know, he would give you that correction right away while it was fresh in your mind.
Kleber had some good training too. Like he would have us like spin around like to where we're dizzy as fuck, and then put us together, and it's like that's what it's like when you're exhausted. And it was like that was weird. That was a weird roll.
I watched this training where they pulled out these tennis balls, and the guy on the bottom had to hold these tennis balls.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
And then you roll.
That's some template.
And you're not allowed to use your grip. You can't use your grip, so you got to use lock.
And it was no-gi too. So it's all framing.
It's all framing, and it's just to help you
it's
not work on your grips and focus on framing and doing things like that. But I think little things like that could definitely be helpful. Like you ever see, I think we did it a couple times where it's like, all right, you can only use one hand, and you put one hand in your belt and you roll, and it helps you focus more on
why are you bringing up
your
trauma
legs
right
to
now?
connect.
Why you fucking bring up my PTSD?
Using your legs to connect and make those connections. Because I feel like sometimes I forget to make use my legs and stay connected, and sometimes and
I think it happens. I think it happens like when you're not thinking about it. But it forces you to actually think about it.
Yeah.
So how long did it take you to get your blue belt once you came over?
Not long. I think like I said, I was a 3-stripe white belt, but I mean I had I've been doing it for 5 years, so it was he promoted me maybe a month or so.
Oh wow, really quick.
Same time as I think I got my blue belt the same day as Cheech.
Oh, okay.
So that was that, and it was I remember getting my blue belt. I was like, finally, because people are like, oh, you do jiu-jitsu? Like, what belt are you? Like a white belt, but I've been doing it 8 years. So.
It's so shameful when people ask you what belt are you?
And the level of dismissal they give you after that. Oh, okay, well, good luck.
It's I'll choke you to fucking death right now.
Well, the thing is, even after that though, even if you said you're blue, purple,
they
don't. They're like, I don't know what that is. Where is that?
Right. Unless you're saying brown belt or black belt, they kind of don't really. Which is funny because going back when I first started jiu-jitsu at that taekwondo place, I was a brown belt as a 12-year-old, and I was doing jiu-jitsu. So it was a situation where I thought I was a brown belt in jiu-jitsu.
And then you learned
out I was not.
So around that same time, I was doing Kempo. The guy, Zane Frazier,
Really?
Yeah, so he was teaching some ground stuff. The only thing that I remember from there that was actually useful is some of the sweeps the takedowns were like judo ones that Omar teaches, but like escapes from mount. I think about it now. I'm like, dude, that's so bad. Like they were like your arms were wide open. Like it was it wasn't good at all.
It was not.
Like
it was good for the 90s maybe.
maybe I don't even know. Like I remember it was like hip bump, put your arm up, and like sweep this way. And I was like, and now when I think back about it, I'm like,
those were
that's so
broken.
I was like, that's so bad. That's
We're gonna
such a
get
bad
your
idea.
arm triangle.
The takedowns were good. Some of the stuff was the same that Omar teaches, which makes sense. It's like judo.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
basically judo. It's
takedowns
not
have been
really
around
like-
for
it's judo, not
hundreds of
like
years.
The jiu-jitsu, right? So I think even wrestling all that has been
borrow
around
from
forever. So yeah.
Before
that's
we get
interesting.
back into the story, I need to talk about something.
Oh, here we go. This guy.
Was it you? Somebody was getting arm triangled from the bottom yesterday by Kyle.
No, that was.
Don't say his name. It wasn't you.
I don't know who it was. It wasn't me.
Think about that. So Homeboy was in the half guard, trying to pass, and Kyle fucking arm triangled it from the bottom.
Yeah. I think. Here's the thing.
I don't know what makes us think of that.
Sounds believable.
But I think obviously Kyle's good, really good.
Yeah, fucking
but second,
sandbagger.
he's also has like the perfect like body for jiu-jitsu. He's got super long arms, super long legs, so you can really.
And he wears those skinny pants.
Yeah, you can't grab anything. Yeah,
Motherfucker.
Well, he's not even able to compete with those anymore. But in jiu-jitsu,
I remember they came out with a
IBJJF.
they put out like a Instagram post of like the promo for the gym, and it had like feet running around for the warm ups, and it was like kind of in slow motion. Like I could spot his. I was like, I know who that is because of the pants.
That's so tight.
It's like, how do you get those that way?
I think I may have talked about this on a podcast before, but we were all in Arizona competing. I think it was an IBJJF, must have been. And Kyle goes and checks in with his gi, and then he walks past the guy after he checks in. The guy says, "Wait, you can't roll in those pants." And Kyle turned around and gave this dude the fucking death stare and said something to him. The dude was like, "Okay." And it's like, let him walk in. That's how he gets with those fucking pants. He hit him with that, "I will fucking murder you, motherfucker." Yeah. And then another time, like when I first met Kyle when we were at Master World in Vegas, he's rolling and he smashes the first dude. Like he beats this dude up like he doesn't belong to be there. And then the second match, as soon as he steps on the mat, the dude's coach is yelling, "Those pants are illegal!" It's like yelling. He's like, "What's up with the skinny pants?" Yelling to the referee, and the referee's like looking at him, telling him to shut up. And the kid goes to grab he's a man, it's a master's, but the dude goes to grab his pants and his grip just comes off.
Nothing.
And then the coach is like, "Ah!" Like yelling all crazy and shit. Kyle smashed that dude too, but it was hilarious. The whole time the guy was in like broken English Portuguese yelling about his skinny jeans and shit like that.
That's funny.
Yeah. So when I came to our gym, you were already a purple belt, maybe like 3 or 4 stripes. So what was it like when you kept leveling up at our school? Like, because I've never seen you in a bad position ever. Really? I've just seen you fucking smash everyone. I was gonna ask you in the beginning, how much do you weigh? What do you weigh?
193 these days. Yeah.
This motherfucker feels like he's 1,000 pounds when he's on top of you. I can just remember being in places where you're being nice to me, grinding my fucking face to the mat. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Dude, you feel so heavy on top, and then like the way like you position your body is like unbelievable when we roll. Like I'll think I get in a good position, then I'm like upside down and like this fucked up position. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here?
That's funny because
like you never come either. Like you're there like once a month. And you fucking smash
I have not been going a lot lately, but getting the going up through the belt rankings was weird because it was like I was a blue belt and then the pandemic hit. And so it was like we were close. Like training was weird. You know what I mean? Training was unconventional for that time. And so it was weird because like I went back and like to be honest, I don't really remember a lot of it. Like it just feels like a long thing. Yeah, it's like. But I know that like from blue belt to purple belt, I was going to a lot of early morning, like 6 a.m. classes, and then I switched jobs, and then I started like 3 p.m. was like my so I would go to 3 p.m. like all the time. But I haven't been to a night class in ages. And it's funny because I think the last time I went to a night class, I got my fucking ass kicked.
I was going to say, going to 6 a.m. is like having a cheat code on. It's not fair. If you're a night guy and you go to 6 a.m., it ain't fair for those guys.
Yeah, it's a different.
You got like Gabe and little Gabe.
They don't count because they're night people too.
Right,
true.
right.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a weird thing because it's like you go to the morning and afternoon classes and you get like constant, like you don't, there's no like times where you got to sit out and like, but
Well, it's like that at 7 p.m. for certain people.
Yeah,
Is it?
if
See,
you go to
when I
7
was-
p.m. and you're like one of the dudes who's like, there's like 15 core people.
yeah,
they're
you'll
all
keep them in all the
consistent.
time. Yeah.
If you ask him to, if not, because he'll look
Right.
at you and you're just like, I can't say that.
But yeah, it's interesting the differences in the each class has.
Yeah,
its own-
100%. Because like I feel like the 6 a.m. is super quiet. Nobody wants to fucking talk.
Yeah,
Everyone's just like,
that's how it is at
why
3
the
p.m.
fuck
too
am I
when you
here?
get there. You
And
get
then-
there at 3 p.m.
But
It's like
3 p.m. is
super
still
quiet.
like not as quiet as the 6. I feel like 6 a.m. is like the most quiet. Like nobody fucking.
Well, yeah,
talks.
I mean it's like
Who's waking up at 6
Right,
a.m.
yeah.
wants to go be a
That's-
sad?
I know, right? That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And then like the 10 a.m. and the 3 p.m. are very similar in that like I think people like are kind of chill.
yeah.
You talk a little bit more there, but it's also warmer by that point, so you're not
Right.
fucking hurting. Your bones aren't aching yet.
yeah, and plus you've
But
had a chance to like get
Yeah,
get
but
a,
7 p.m. is like just fucking.
We used to have a 5
party.
a.m. It used to go like
Oh,
5
shit.
5 a.m. All the days would alternate 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. That was when Kleber was. I think Kleber was
5
like
a.m.,
Kleber
holy
was like
shit.
sleeping there at the gym, and he would open up the gym.
He's like, no big deal. Be here at 5. I'm already here.
He's already there,
Yeah.
and
That's crazy.
and it was like going there when it's that early. It's
I can't
it's so
imagine.
weird.
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes you'd go there and there'd be like only like one other person show up, and there was sometimes where I'd go there and it'd just be me and Kleber, and he would just ask me what I wanted to
Private,
learn,
yeah.
and
Yeah,
it would
that's
just
awesome.
be, and
Though.
it was
That's
yeah,
very.
it was,
A few times I've gone to a 10 a.m. and it's like 2 people.
yeah.
But even then, I'm like, fuck, because then it means when we time to roll, it's just he's just like, oh, go again.
Yeah,
go
yeah,
again,
exactly.
go again.
There's
I'm
no,
like,
yeah, and who that other person is going to dictate how good of a day you're going to have.
You show up and
Right.
like
Really
you
bad
show up and fucking it's just Kyle. I'm like,
Right,
God
yeah,
damn
yeah,
it, I'm
yeah,
a
it's like
fucking.
you're gonna-
Or just like Ismail.
Oh yeah,
God, Ismail's so good too.
dude,
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
gotten so good too. Like
And
he's gotten slick. It's like he doesn't have to use the.
But rolling with him is like pain.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just,
Yeah,
you're going to hurt somewhere when
Yeah.
you roll with him.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot. We have a lot. We have a lot of really good guys at our gym.
Yeah,
and they all split up between like some show up to the 7 p.m., some don't, some go to the 3. But like, those are the guys you're sitting there like, oh, today's gonna be a chill day, and then you're like, fuck.
5 minutes later, all the savages.
Yeah, you're like,
Yeah.
never mind, never mind. Yeah, like I went to a 10 once, and then like, I was like 3 of us, and I was like, oh, cool, this is gonna be chill. It's like 2 blue
Yeah,
belts
you're
and
gonna
like
get
me.
to-
And
You're
I
gonna
was
get
like, hell
to. You're
yeah.
gonna get to
And
work
then, like,
on something.
Gabe showed up. Little Gabe showed up. Ismail showed up. Fucking like all of. I was like, oh, this is gonna be a painful
My day
day.
just got
Yeah,
bad.
I was like, my day just got painful.
I've had that happen though, where it's the opposite. Like I've rolled into like 6 a.m. a couple times, and like it's all white belts usually, and they're all sitting like older dudes, our age. You know, they're there, and they're sitting there, they're all happy at their little 6 a.m. Their little 6 a.m. group, and I'll roll in there, and they'll look at me because they don't know who I am,
Yeah.
because I don't go to 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And they'll look at me, and like if you knew, there would be signs, right? Yeah, I roll in with like a high-end jiu-jitsu bag, so
Yeah,
that would be
yeah.
like the first sign, right? And then you put the bag down, and they're looking at you. And then you pull out your gi, and it's a little bit beat up. That should be the second sign. And then last time I did it, I stuck my belt in my gi, and I walked onto the mat, and they were just looking at me like, "Who's this fat guy?" I saw them all kind of looking at me, talking to each other, looking, and then I pulled out my belt and put it on, and I just saw them all go like this. They all got the fucking business that day too. That's what you get for the fucking. One dude was going hard as fuck, and he kind of had me in a good position. Like he outpaced me, and then he stopped, and I was like, that's where the movie where the little fucking record scratch is like, this is how you know you fucked up, because I popped up on this dude and put him through the mat. And I was like, sorry guy, that's what happens if you give me a position.
Yeah.
So how you? So now you've kind of we decided you're a 3-stripe brown belt. That's what it is, right?
We decided, yeah. That's the
I'm glad you have that control.
We decided that. But so for the last about year or 2 years, you switched over to stand up mostly, right?
Yeah, well, I got injured last year. I got my big toe broken in one of our in jiu-jitsu
With a goddamn white belt, right?
With a white belt,
Fucking
yeah,
white belts.
right? Yes, yeah. If only I knew a guy who slayed them.
Was it actually broken?
Yeah, pointed back up.
Oh,
at me.
shit.
Yeah,
How did that happen?
It was well, like we started and it was like lesson learned. When you rolling with somebody you don't know. Always treat them like they're gonna hurt
like
you.
they know what they do.
I mean, you don't have to like abuse them, but like don't let. But I went into it like.
Yes, you do.
Well, never admit to it. Yeah. But like I kind of went into it just a little too relaxed, thinking that we were just gonna kind of move.
Yeah.
And he ended up just going kind of crazy, and so I was like, okay, shit. Well, I'll just sit down. And as soon as I sat down, he took this big step. This big step forward, and I don't know how it happened, but I just remember feeling my big toe just go like flat, and I looked at it just like that.
It was like pointing up?
It was pointing right back
big
up.
toe?
Yeah, big toe. Yeah, and it never healed right.
Really?
So now my big toe is like one long, like the joint doesn't like bend like it should.
Did you go to the doctor?
Oh yeah. No, I went to the doctor. I've had X-rays, MRIs. Like they say well, we could do surgery, but we don't know if it's gonna it might even make it worse. So I'm like, all right. So I kind of took some time, and I was like, well, now's a good time to I'd always wanted to kind of get into striking, and it was funny. I think one of the first times you and I met, we were at it was a backyard somewhere.
It was Omar's dad.
Yeah, right. And we were talking. I'd gotten the VR headset, and I downloaded this boxing game. And so I remember thinking, I'm gonna go into the boxing game, and just like you go into any other gym, I'm gonna go fuck people up.
Yeah.
And dude,
were you playing online with people?
No. It's just a single player. Yeah, it's just single player
really
VR
good game,
headset. And it, dude, like within 30 seconds, I was dying. I was dying, like just throwing wildly, and I felt how off balanced I was. I felt how uncoordinated I was. I felt how out of breath I was. And I'm like, dude, if that had been real, I'd be fucking dead.
Yeah.
So I kind of started doing that a long time, to where I'd go to do 12 rounds of it. And then I was like, I kind of want to see if this, if what
translates?
I want to see if it translates. It doesn't. But it was worth finding out. So I started. That's when I had been following this page for Black Flag's page for a while, just because I knew some people that were going there, and so I was like, all right, let me go try it. And it's just been just one of those things. Just kind of fell in love with it. And it's weird because it kind of helps. I've noticed that my jujitsu's gotten a little sharper from it, just because it's the
reflexes.
Reflexes and the footwork and the overall body fluency.
So you said you've been doing jiu-jitsu maybe a couple times a month now, right?
I try to go. I just got over being sick, so I was out for 2 weeks. But I try to do at least once, twice a week.
Oh, okay, you're going that much?
Yeah.
So do you think the striking keeps your cardio good? Because if you go one time a week, your cardio's fucked.
Right. No, the conditioning that we do over there is insane.
And it translates to jiu-jitsu still?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's it's weird. You could take one of those guys who've only done that and put them in jiu-jitsu, and they'll
it's a different type of cardio.
Right? Yeah. But I noticed that in the stand-up part of the jiu-jitsu round, and in the parts where guard passing, the way I'm able to move my feet now is more efficient, and I'm not dying from it.
Standing up.
Because before I'd try to do all guard passing from the knees, because I'm just I'm too fucking tired
stand
to
up
stand
and
up
start
and
coming
do it.
back in,
But now it's okay, I can stand up and just start moving. But the conditioning he puts us through over there is.
That's what scares me the most about trying to do Muay Thai is the conditioning.
But I mean, that's the thing is in fights, if you ever have to fight, it's that's the number one thing that's gonna make a difference of whoever's gonna gas out first is gonna.
But that's what's that? Joe Rogan was talking. He was he's oh, everyone thinks they can fight, and then they're but can they hang? And then you let them throw a couple punches, and then they're oh, it's 2 minutes in. They're oh, you're tired?
Yeah.
You're oh, now we're gonna fight. Now we're gonna fight. Now that you're tired.
That's that's where the white belt wrangler came from. That's where the idea of the wrangler came from. Because you roll with a white belt, especially a 1 or 2 stripe.
They go hard, and then boom,
they're fucking coming
out,
at you like it's the end of the world. And then you look at them and you think in your mind, now is my time. And then when you sweep them, they look at you oh, I fucked up. And you just fall back, and then it's then it's time.
That's kind of how it is with striking too. Is you get as you get experience, you feel new people come in, and when you go with them, you feel how tense they are.
Yeah.
And it's you can just feel that nervous energy that they have, and it's then you could start picking them apart, and then you feel them gas out. And the weird thing is in jiu-jitsu, it's cardio. You can grind their cardio out, and striking you can just bash it out of them.
Really?
Yeah, it's because it's when you get hit in the stomach or something like that, your cardio, you've instantly now ran a mile
What do you think like the percentage of strength you guys use when you're fighting is? Are you hitting people with like 100% strength? Or
No.
Yeah.
We're probably going 50% headshots and maybe like 60, 70% like leg kicks and body kicks
Like
and
the
stuff
teeps
like
and
that.
stuff?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're hitting people relatively hard because it doesn't
It's-
look super hard when I watch the videos you guys doing it.
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't. That's the thing is like it doesn't look hard, but when you get
they-
tagged with something,
Are they
it's-
pretty
it's-
conscious about like TBI and stuff like that, and like
Fuck no, this is Muay Thai, homie.
What's TBI?
Traumatic brain injury?
Oh, no. I
I
mean,
know because I mean back in the day, when you looked at training like that, it was like. It was a full fight every fucking time, and now I think a lot of gyms, even a lot of pro MMA fighters, they never go 100% when they're sparring.
I wouldn't say a lot of times. Have you ever seen? So there's videos.
Well, it's like Sean Strickland.
like
and
Sean-
some of those
yes.
guys are fucking.
Have you ever heard of Sanford MMA? It used to be called Henry Hoof's Combat Club. Henry Hoof is like one of like the supposedly all-time Dutch kickboxers, right? He's got a school in Coconut Creek or somewhere in Florida, and it's called Sanford MMA. And actually, I think it's a hospital that sponsors it, or a medical group. But everyone at that gym, they're all fucking killers.
That's
like,
why the fucking medical group say they want their brains.
Yeah, they want
Right,
their brains.
right.
But like, that's where
They're like, yeah, go hard.
That's where like Kamaru Usman came from. I think that's where Chandler's from. There's like 3 or 4 really big dudes that came from there, but they all started leaving when they started getting higher up in the ranks. Because dude, there's videos of them sparring, and it's 1,000%.
Yeah.
There's a video of when Luke Rockhold came from AKA, which was supposed to be like a warrior academy, went to Sanford, and there's videos of him at Sanford like full on fights when they're fucking sparring.
But that's what I mean. The higher, more professional they get, they're more
They go-
conscious
yeah,
of like,
yeah.
this isn't the way to train.
Oh, Gilbert
for, long,
Burns from
for,
there.
for longevity
Right,
wise,
yeah, right.
this is not how you train.
Yeah.
But some of those dudes, like fucking Sean Strickland's still getting at it.
Sean Strickland. But I mean,
like-
have
but
you listened
like-
to Sean talk?
But, there,
Like,
but there's videos of Izzy too, or there's stories of Izzy. Like Izzy doesn't spar until he's in camp, and then he's braining people, like knocking fools out.
Yeah.
And, a lot of the champions are like that because people want
but I
to
can
come
understand.
at
I
them
can
and they come
understand in
breaking
a
them off,
camp,
yeah.
but
I don't
know
man.
about like all of
No,
them.
I
All
agree
the time,
with you. I agree
like-
they shouldn't be doing
like
that, but
for us, we like it's like we wear 16-ounce gloves, and
The
I
big
think
ass ones, right?
that yeah, I think really what happens is like when you first start getting hit, like for the first time, and you, it's more of a tolerance thing for
Yeah.
because you really get more alarmed by getting hit in the face than it actually does any real, any especially when we're doing like practice rounds. It's like you get tagged with a clean shot, and you become like, oh my god, but it really didn't really do anything. It just kind of like it just
It's
kind of.
like it was like jiu-jitsu. The first time
It's
you
like
get
hitting a
like
switch
you get
and-
suffocated, and you're
Right,
like, like,
right.
oh my god, and you start freaking out and panicking.
'Cause-
Like this is like real. Like someone's trying to fucking
'Cause
choke me.
The things that like when I first started and I'd get hit in the face, I would do like I would go down, I would turn away, and then I would just get beat the hell up.
'Cause you're walking away from the
it's
fight,
yeah,
yeah.
but it's like now it's like I can eat that shot and still stay because I know
Engaged.
it's just like it's not like it didn't put me out.
Yeah.
And so it's like you just kind of develop the tolerance for what happens when it because I've had some shots where it's like it didn't really hurt, but it just bothered me.
So how many days a week are you training there?
I'm doing about 3. I try to do about 3, and then the sparring on the weekends about an hour sparring, like full
that's a lot of
do
sparring.
you guys
Yeah.
only spar on 1 day a week?
Sometimes what we'll do is we'll have some like flow rounds, which is like a lot of what I like. Like what I post, like when I post videos, it's from flow rounds. Sometimes we'll have days where we'll do like 3 or 4 rounds after class, and then some nights it's for like Friday nights where it's just an hour of round after round after round, and then Saturdays we do that too. So yeah, it's a hell of a workout.
So do you think the progression level in that compared to like let's say you have your normal person that doesn't know jiu-jitsu, doesn't know any Muay Thai. You go into jiu-jitsu, the learning curve is it's like 7-10 years for a black belt.
Right.
And even to get proficient at it, like 2-3 years to be
Right.
proficient, right?
Right.
Do you think it's lower? So let's say you go into Muay Thai 1 year in Muay Thai, and you're probably comparatively like a purple belt in jiu-jitsu. Like it's just
I think like if you have if you've done a martial art before, I think knowing how to learn a martial art will help you learn another one. Like because it's like in jiu-jitsu you learned that like okay, if you want to get good at it, you have to do the technique they just taught you during the live round.
Right.
Like you have to try.
You have to
You have
try.
to
Try
try
to hit
until
it.
it fails. so it's like, in jiu-jitsu that gets beat into you. So for like me, I was like, okay, that's how I approach.
You learned the
sparring
technique.
rounds.
It didn't work. What did I do wrong? How do I
what
adjust
went wrong?
it?
You go home and you think about it, and it's like in jiu-jitsu you learn like the pathways to different to these
like a
situations,
sequence, yeah.
right? And it's like in striking, it's the same thing. It's like they have these situations, they're faster, and but they do still exist. And so I kind of like latched onto those things, and I'm like, okay, when I have this, then I do this, and if they do that, then I do that. And it's like you just kind of run a little system in your head. And so it's like knowing how to learn it is a skill in itself, I feel like, and it's like it's helped me. But I'd say like if anybody starts a martial art like that, either grappling or striking, from not having done anything, the learning curve is going to be steep.
So I know that Jonah talked about like that for him that being in the clinch and stuff like that, knowing like I could go for a single leg here, or I can change the game, and you can't. Those things that you're not allowed to do, kind of like mess with him because he's like I'm stuck doing like what they're.
What the rule set is.
Yeah, what their rule set is versus like I know if I could do. Oh, look, his legs there. Boom, takedown. Do you find that going through your head?
If anything, it was like thinking that I could try those things and then getting punished for it, like through just getting blasted. Like because there'd be times where like we'd clinch, and through the years of jiu-jitsu where we go like this.
You get knee in the face, whatever.
Like that's a death sentence, and it's like yeah, maybe I could have reached for that leg, but they could have just popped that knee right in my face, and it's like, and it's like having been kneed in the face like that, it's like I don't want that. You know what I mean? So it's like, but yeah, there's sometimes where it's like because that was kind of what interested me was like I thought that I'd go in there and that like I'd be like. In clinching that I'd be able to just be real comfortable there, but it's like it's a big difference when you're getting somebody that knows what they're doing and they're just digging knees into your body or they're elbowing like an elbow, you're gonna eat an elbow, and it's like it really changes the level of risk that you have.
Yeah. I mean, but if that was a situation, you're probably more confident taking them to the fucking ground so you don't get those.
That's a good question.
Because.
Perfect transition.
I don't know. Yeah.
So Nathan and I, we've been talking about this for kind of months throughout the DMs and stuff. We were supposed to do this podcast 3-4 months ago, but I got fucked up and I couldn't wake up. That was a mistake. So this all started off with like a friendly gesture that turned into something a little bit more real, which I'm still going to try to make happen. But we started talking. I think you posted something like, what's more effective, striking or jiu-jitsu? Do you remember what was the actual post? What was the actual post?
I think I posted like what's more useful in real life situations, jiu-jitsu or Muay Thai.
Well, let's break down. What would you consider a real life situation?
Oh, I mean, it could
we're
be
at a bar or something.
Yeah, I mean, anytime, I mean, it's pretty broad because it's like you might be in a one-on-one situation. You might be in a situation where you don't know how many people you're against, the size of the whatever you're in. So, but
well,
so it's like you kind of have to.
I think what you said right there, that changes things. If it's a one-on-one, that's a single situation. But if it's multiple, an unknown,
it's different.
If it's an unknown, there's no doubt striking is the way to go. That is the way. That is 100%. There's no difference, right? Yeah. But then if we start talking about fair ones, or if we start talking about the delineation of jiu-jitsu from jiu-jitsu and striking from striking. So if we just say Muay Thai I think everybody agrees that Muay Thai is the king of striking. What compares to Muay Thai?
It depends on what you're talking about. Boxing's pretty fucking.
Boxing's hands, like
but
if you could
like all round is probably Muay Thai.
Yeah,
I have a question about that real quick. I noticed in Muay Thai, or the place you go, they call it Black Flag Kickboxing, but it's Muay Thai. It's not kickboxing, right?
You can. We do some days where we do elbows, and some days where we don't.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So he does have a differentiate. But so I think I would think most people would agree with this. I could be off, but I think a leg is way more powerful than a fist.
Oh yeah.
So if you have the skill set to high kick someone in the fucking brain, it is way better than boxing, right?
Yeah. Even in the leg.
The leg is like. Have you been 100% leg kicked by the coach over there? What do they call him, crew?
I've been kicked by him, and I know it's not at 100%, and it's devastating. It's devastating.
That's why I think Muay Thai is a higher level than boxing. Because boxing, you got like the head movement, and there's boxing is an art. They talk about what they call it, the sweet art or whatever,
Right.
or sweet science. Boxing is there, but I think Muay Thai is so much more savage and way more devastating.
Well, if you were just going like, if you got into a fight with someone that had known nothing and you knew boxing, you're gonna fuck them up.
Yeah.
If you get into a fight with someone, you know boxing, they know Muay Thai, you're fucked.
Yeah, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Right? There's just
It can be. It depends on the like.
Unless they, I mean, the thing with striking is, what do they always say? There's always the fighter's chance, or like
Puncher's
you get
chance.
puncher's chance, where you get clipped, you get one get hit, it's game over, right?
I guess the difference between like what I would say if you have a boxer versus a Muay Thai fighter, the boxer's stance is gonna like they have like
Allow
a
for
wide
kicks.
stance, and that lead leg, the Muay Thai guy can just kick the shit out. However, if the boxer gets in close, you know, they have the clinch, but box like let's say like Tyson, like a Tyson in a clinch with the leverage he can put on his punches, that could be a real problem for Muay Thai. But the Muay Thai guy would have to like disengage a little bit and then go back to that distance. But
the plum is that's what it's called, right? The plum.
Yeah.
The plum is super powerful, I think, because like you were saying, I mean, I would think in a real fight with your skills now at Black Flag, you smash everyone. I think no one's stopping you there, because you were saying that like. You have the ability to strike now. Maybe there's higher level strikers there.
Yeah.
But you're on another level as far as grappling compared to those guys. And you wouldn't. I don't think in a real fight you would give up the position. Like you would, like you were saying, like if you try to go down, they might punish you or knee you or whatever. But you're not going to give them that position because you're fighting within a rule set.
Right.
There's rules you have to do.
Correct.
Like you might strike your way in and change a level and double leg them and hit at them. Like so that's.
No, I got you. Yeah. No, the one thing I've learned from that is that I don't want to fight those guys. I don't want to fight anybody because it's like you don't like. There's been times where it's like I'm in rounds where I'm going with dudes who like we're going like 50%, and it's like I'm going like if I had to fight this guy.
You'd be fucked.
I'd be fucked.
Because the striking
is so good. Like because when you start really factoring in athleticism and the ability to throw shots, it's like I used to think like if I go with a bigger dude, then that's something I'm gonna go for a takedown. I'm gonna get him down. I'm gonna submit him. But it's like having been in the clinch situations with them, I'm like I don't know if I could get this guy down if I had to before he's gonna land something on me that's gonna make me not want.
There's no doubt that you're gonna take some damage, but I think the difference is once you get them to the ground, if they don't know anything, it's game over.
If you get them to the ground, and they don't know anything, then it's a
or even take their back. They're not used to like getting to their back while they're standing and takedowns from their back. You know.
Yeah.
Again, you got to worry about elbows and things like that. But
here's a perfect example. Two perfect examples. And one guy is the constant, and there's two other fighters on the other side. Look at Habib. Habib Nurmagomedov. Fucking destroyed. Fuck, I had his name in my head, then it popped out. Brazilian dude, darker skin, fucking Muay Thai guy, super fit.
No,
the spinning back kick guy. Fuck.
Oh god, man, I know who you're talking about.
Anyway, so that
blonde
dude
hair, right?
No. He's bald. Fuck.
Edson
Barboza. So Edson is probably one of the greatest Muay Thai fighters to ever go into the UFC. At least that's not
and high level.
That's not fucking Thai. You know what I mean? I don't know how many Thai guys were really on that high level. There was that one dude. No, he was Armenian, I think. There was that one dude that Khalil knocked out that was supposed to be like the man, Petrosian or something like that. And Khalil got in his cage and fucking brained him. But so Edson is a bad motherfucker. Spinning back. So he has like a combination of like kind of Taekwondo and Muay Thai, I would say.
Right.
Spinning back kicks not in Muay Thai.
They have it, but
not like that.
It's not. Yeah.
So Habib's grappling. And at that point, his fucking striking was garbage.
Yeah, it was
I can't strike, so I can't put myself in that position. But I guarantee you're a better striker than he was at that point. That dude he was terrible. Like he couldn't. He had a Chuck Liddell overhand right, and that was like it.
Yeah.
But his grappling was so scary against these high level Muay Thai guys. They knew that level change was coming, and that he would throw this bullshit level change on him and just destroy him.
Yeah, but I think what Khabib did. I mean, it was like the kind of training those guys do. Like if you're talking about like
they're insane.
I mean, like even just like college wrestlers where they're wearing trash bags and shooting doubles for an hour with the heater on.
Yeah.
It's like that's a that's a different.
I think a better example than what you're trying to refer to would be like was it Mighty Mouse versus was it Rotang or whatever?
Rotang,
Yep. They had the special rule set where they were like the first round
was
straight up Muay Thai standing, can't do anything. Second round, whatever you want.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah,
Yeah, he took him down.
Took him down,
Beat his
choked,
ass.
Smashed
he choked him out.
But
Yeah, second round, it was like game over.
As much as I would like to be on the side of jiu-jitsu on this, he set all that shit up with striking.
With striking, yeah,
It was-
exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
Because it went from Muay Thai to MMA. It didn't
Yeah.
go from Muay Thai to jiu-jitsu.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So
I agree with you.
I'm using grappling more as straight jiu-jitsu because
okay.
when I started this, is like there's a delineation between jiu-jitsu. There's sport
Yeah,
jiu-jitsu.
there's submission
There's
grappling.
all submission. There's all this shit. But then there's if you go to the old school Gracie jiu-jitsu, which we don't actually even train, is not
It's more of a
what we train.
self-defense.
Right.
It's not even a self-defense. It's fucking Vale
fighting,
Tudo.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
striking. There's kicks. There's everything in
Right.
it. So that's where I was kind of getting snarky in the DMs, and I was saying it's like I'm not saying jiu-jitsu.
Right,
I'm
right.
saying specifically
Vale
Gracie
Tudo,
jiu-jitsu,
yeah.
which is Vale Tudo, which is strike. That's everything. Like
I think it's
Hickson
a little
wasn't a
behind.
great.
I think it's a little behind times now, but
It is,
The
but
whole point
in
of
the
it is to
streets,
get
the
you to
times don't fucking matter.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole point of that, like if you ever, it was to get the fight down to the ground,
Yeah.
and so it was just enough to like handle
Yeah.
yourself, keep distance, and then close
Yeah.
the distance, take them down.
Well, look at like the everyone would know this one would be the Hoist Gracie one. Like fucking Hoist was fighting like this,
That's what I'm
wasn't he?
saying.
Fucking like doing
Well, he-
That's what I'm
work.
saying.
but he set up everything he did with that front kick.
Yeah, that
to-
front kick.
yeah.
For
But then
distance,
a better example is if you go back and watch the shit in Japan with Hoyler or with Hickson.
Yeah.
Hickson and Hoyler had better like straight up striking, which I think they set that up on purpose. They didn't want Hoist. I'm sure Hoist was better than he really was, but they didn't want him out there striking. They wanted him
Yeah,
to
they
set up
wanted-
the
they
takedowns
were
in
selling
jiu-jitsu.
the- yeah.
But in Japan, like Hickson's striking was still not like on the level. I mean, probably even his son's striking is better than his. Which everyone thinks is garbage. It's pretty bad.
The
Hickson's
last
striking
one
was
was-
pretty bad. Like Hickson's striking is pretty bad.
Yeah.
But he was able to get in there and fight in the clinch and like do knees
Right.
and that front kick. It's almost like a teep. It's more like
Yeah.
what do they
Yeah,
call it?
it's
The
a-
oblique kick. That oblique kick that they do is like a staple of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu.
is.
Like
Right.
Hoylers came to the school and showed it,
yeah.
and it's like this thing is bullshit. It's like why would you do this gay like stupid ass push kick,
Yeah.
and then you're fucking around with your boy doing it, and you're like. Oh, this is legit.
No, it's a-
you
yeah,
can
yeah.
oblique kick someone, set up that takedown, and just change
Yeah.
everything.
Well,
It's a good way to
if
get
you
a
hit-
big step
also,
in.
Yeah, the big
also,
step.
if you
Exactly,
hit-
the big step in.
If you
yeah.
hit someone with that and you get it right spot and you take the wind out, it's kind of game over.
Or if you kick him in the knee, fuck kicking him in the stomach.
Yeah.
Kick him in the knee and drop them,
Well-
and then it's you're where
But I
you
think,
want to be.
yeah.
Right, and look at even just like how the sports changed just from the calf kick. It's
Oh,
like
yeah,
the
yeah,
calf
yeah.
kick has like changed the entire
Yeah.
sport, and it's like relatively new, and it's like it makes all the sense in the world because people were so used to getting their thighs beat up,
Blasted,
And then also
and
your
the calf
calves,
can't
you
can't
even
take
handle
the
it much,
and it's
yeah.
like they get kicked in that calf and they're just like walking
wobbling.
like
So, do you guys mess with that at all in Muay Thai? That low calf kick?
No. I think the reason because is like the Muay Thai stance, it makes it to where it's like you should just check it too easy. But like in MMA stance where they have like a wider stance, it's real hard to.
Kind
It's
of a
harder
mix
to it's harder to check it than it is in Muay Thai. But like it's something I've wanted to learn because I just see them getting wrecked with it. Like and it's like man, it's like. But I mean, imagine if you're fighting somebody and you take like a wrestling stance, like you're ready, and then they blast you with one of those, and then now you can't like you
can't
and you
stand
try to go
straight up.
shoot,
Yeah.
and you roll your ankle, and then you're like, and then it's like
Yeah.
it's one of those things like. It's like you kind of need to set up whatever you're doing with that, and for me it was always like it's like I'm not really a big takedown like I feel like takedown the energy expenditures of like takedowns is like it could be you don't know what you're in for.
Yeah.
I've said it a bunch of times. Like everyone wants to wrestle until it's time to wrestle.
Yeah,
'Cause me too. I think I'm going to go in there and take someone down.
It's not easy.
Yeah, you get stuffed once or twice. You start playing the
dude,
grip
it's
game. You're like,
hand
fuck
fight-
this.
hand
I'm going
fight.
down.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Hand fighting and
And
that
that-
stuff it's definitely draining.
And that's why I'm like, I just gotten to the point to where like if I ever had to, I'd rather just put somebody out. Like you know what I mean? Like I'm like fuck all that. I'm not trying to get
I
all
think
dirty.
I think the whole argument came from my ignorance of striking. Is like striking's good. You know, I said it before. I've been in, I don't know, literally over 100 street fights, and it's all been trash striking. I don't know how to strike, right? It's all been fucking Chuck Liddell overhand
just
right, Brandon-fulls. But now with like my ability to grapple, I can see the transitions into places where like maybe I would try to strike and like standing arm triangle someone, take him down and beat him up on the ground. Because I'm not saying I would submit him on the ground. But I know how to control someone on the ground now where I can start landing strikes.
Yeah,
Even
yeah.
though they're not quality strikes, I can start to land them until they throw their hands up, and then I think I could finish something from there, right?
Right.
That's an idiot thinking way out of the box. But I personally still think that grappling in whole or jiu-jitsu is better in the street on a one-on-one.
Yeah, I'd say for one-on-one for sure.
Wait, let me caveat that real quick. If you do MMA, all this is fucking
all
this is trash.
Right.
MMA
You
is
can
the
do whatever
king.
you want.
Yeah, MMA is the king
It's the
of,
best of everything.
combat
Well,
sports.
pulls it all in, yeah.
So, but if we're looking at like the old school, like style versus style, I think jiu-jitsu wins in the streets, one-on-one.
You mean style versus style on like Muay Thai guy encounters jiu-jitsu guy, or are we talking both guys encountered a total dummy?
No, we're talking skill on skill.
Oh,
A total dummy.
Yeah,
If you're a fucking white belt in Muay Thai, or you're a white belt in jiu-jitsu, you're breaking the world off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like that's why they say a white belt in the streets is going to smash most people.
Yeah,
A blue belt in the streets is. Yeah. This is a stupid example because my brother doesn't know how to grapple or anything like that. But one time I was out with my brother's house and we got all drunk, and his friend was egging us on. And finally, my brother tied up with me, and I took his ass down on the concrete and I choked him out. So he was gargling. I finally let go because I thought I was going to put him to sleep. And then he gets up in my guard and starts like pretending strikes. And one of those old school dudes from the old school Gracie place showed me this, where like some dude brings a strike onto you, you hit him with that arm triangle, and you sweep him, and you get on top and start doing that. And I did that to him. And that was kind of, we just fucking around. That was the end of that. One of the last times I went out there, I was talking to his friend who was egging us on. And we were talking about something. I was like, no, I'm a purple belt. And he was like, I thought you were a black belt. And I was like, no, dude. I was like, just comparatively to a normal person, that's how good you can be when you're a trash blue belt. You know what I mean? Because he told me, he was like, I thought you were a black belt. And I was like, nah, man. And he was like, what the fuck? And I was like,
I thought you did karate.
Yeah, exactly. So like,
Mexican karate.
a blue belt with a focused mind, I think, would beat up most of the people in the world. The same thing with that level in Muay Thai is.
Oh yeah. I mean, for the most part, like I think any skill at all, it's gonna come with some athleticism also. Yeah. Versus some like, but my thing is always like, what if I come across somebody who's just like whose athleticism is ridiculous? That's where it's
I got a good story of that. So I was training out of town at a place that was this gym was badass. Like it would be like the perfect spot if you wanted to have one, but it was CrossFit-ish, like it was like a full kind of gym like that, and I think they were doing kind of CrossFit stuff, Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu, and all of it was fairly high level.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there waiting for the class, and I remember when I walked in, this guy was like this fucking like super jack black dude, like athletic as he looks, as you can get. He looks at me, and I start signing in, and he was like, hell yeah, fresh meat. And I was like, what? And then he was like, you're my my appointment for Muay Thai, right? And I was like, uh-uh. And he was like, oh, all right. Or maybe he was lifting. Maybe he wasn't really like a fighter. He was something, but. And then finally, one of this like fat, like out of the perfect out of shape brown belt dude who's already training there comes up and they start chirping at each other. And he was like, get that bullshit out of here, blah, 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 going on. And I think this dude was wrestling maybe.
Yeah.
And he was teaching like CrossFit shit. So the dude, finally, like 10 minutes later, I'm sitting there warming up, so I got there like 45 minutes early. That black dude comes onto the mats, and that brown belt, they start chirping at each other. And he takes off his gi, leaves his belt on, has his pants. And this is like, no disrespect to the fucking great Oscar, rest in peace. Kind of sloppy dude like that, a little bit more in shape, right? And this black dude fucking puts it on him. Wrestles him, takes him down, puts him in a fucking guillotine, and is choking him. I think his neck is going to break. And the dude is tapping all fucking wildly. And he gets up and he was like, fuck you and all that disrespect, bitch. And I was like, damn. And then they clash again and he beats him again. So that's like a good example of like just pure athleticism, and knowing how to do like a bullshit guillotine or like 10-finger choke. Like if you run into an athlete, you might have a problem. Well, if you run into a football player,
exactly,
run the other fucking way.
Right, exactly.
Because I don't care unless you're equal size and you have skills.
There was just a recent thing where I don't know if you know Bradley Martin, but he's like some bodybuilder, fitness guy. On
He's not athletic.
Right,
he's
one
jacked.
thing to be jacked, and then
that dude. He was 140-pound, like fucking.
Bradley did take him down. The dude got the reverse on the single, but it was like Bradley was on top of him even on the reverse.
But 140 pounds.
We're gonna see because supposedly him and Mighty Mouse are gonna get after it.
Mighty Mouse is gonna fuck.
Oh, it's not gonna be.
It's not even be close.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't be.
Dude, did you watch? I don't know if you saw Mighty Mouse did World Masters or something like that.
Oh yeah, he just went right.
He just fucking ran through everybody. I was like,
first of all, you want to talk about sandbagging? That motherfucker's a 13-time UFC champion.
That's what I said. They were all congratulating him, and I'm like, you just went up beat a bunch of like hobbyists,
a bunch of dudes like us.
Right.
He's a brown belt, right?
Right. I think.
I mean, that's what he.
He got a gold belt that's like what do those things weigh? Like 50 pounds of gold?
Yeah.
That trumps any like
$2 remember, I think it was his last fight in the UFC when he's standing, throws that dude into the armbar.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He like Undertaker.
And he's like, no, we trained. He goes, we trained that.
Yeah.
He's like, we trained that.
Isn't it crazy though how like the MMA, because it always seems like MMA people are able to like just.
I was reading or
bottom
listening to
side
someone,
control like
and maybe it was on Reddit, and they were like, why is it that like MMA guys, they come into a jiu-jitsu gym and they like basically destroy everyone,
bro.
The thing was what someone was saying is like it's different than like if you're just training jiu-jitsu because they're training to not be punched, to not be injured, and so their whole concept is let me just ground you, heavy smash passes, don't let you sweep me. And so their game is built on that versus I'm going to go X guard, I'm going to go single leg X, I'm going to go this and that and open up, like, go open guard. And so their whole game is about like...
Well, that's what I was saying to Nathan earlier about like, I think he would be able to smash those dudes because you guys are in a rule set where you agree that you can't do this bullshit and you take your head down, you get kneed in the face, right? I don't think you give them that position. If you were in a fight, you know what I mean. You're not going to give them that. Okay, we're both going to plumb.
We're starting to do some MMA rounds there too.
Are you guys switching the gloves?
I haven't actually been every time because we never really know what it's going to be when we go there. But
confusion.
You never know what you're walking into that day. So
that's scary.
So they know you're around up?
Yeah. I mean, but the MMA rounds, it's like it's. Man, I'd like to say I'd be able to smash everybody, but man, I don't know.
Are there MMA people there besides the crew? How do you address him?
Crew, yeah, we call him crew.
Okay,
yeah. I mean, he's an animal. I mean, he fucks people up for hours on end, and he's literally just playing. Like he's just throwing some crazy.
Well, it's
wild
like
shit.
everything. There's levels to everything. Like there's like just people that are just.
I think we kind of talked about this when Omar is on, but I guarantee Omar's jiu-jitsu is sharper now than it was when he was world champion. I bet this Omar beats that one if he was able to have the physicality that he had when he was a kid.
From the experience,
because at that time he was even the experience, but at that time he wasn't doing jiu-jitsu professionally, and he wasn't doing it all day like he does now.
Yeah.
Because even when he's not training with us, he's on the mats thinking about it, doing it, showing the techniques. So the same thing with your crew is like, he's on the mat all fucking day, every day. It's his job. That's what he does. So it's like, when you're a ditch digger, you suck in the beginning. Then after 10 years, you can dig a ditch like nobody's business, quick as fuck. That's the same thing with jiu-jitsu or any striking or any martial art. I think even bullshit taekwondo, those dudes can fucking throw a roundhouse kick like you probably wouldn't. believe.
Right. I wouldn't want to get head kicked by a taekwondo person. Everything else, or a heel kick, and a head kick. Outside of that, taekwondo,
like that spinning back kick that Joe Rogan does. No, thank you.
Something like that.
Yeah, but Joe Rogan might be one of the best at the world with that.
Yeah, with that back kick.
Yeah. And plus, it's like if you see that, you could kind of see that coming too. Sometimes, like, but
I would hope I could. If not, it's fucking another dimension.
It's all how it's set up. But I remember like the first time I ate like a real knee to the body from Crew Joe was like it was the worst pain I've felt. Like it was so. Like it was so bad.
Yeah.
It was so bad that I was just like, okay, I need a minute to take. It's like
that's the worst because when it's heading, bitch.
Yeah. No.
Because you don't get to that level of at a martial art without having that fucking bravado that comes in.
Right. Well, and to know he only threw it at like 40% too. It's just a super accurate knowing where to go. And that's the thing. Like for like birthdays and stuff, we'll eat leg kicks from each other, and he's always the last one. And it's like you look at it, and it's like it doesn't look like he's throwing it hard, but he just the way he knows how to do it, it just knows right at the right spot.
It's so interesting how martial arts are like that because you get a belt promotion, you get whip. Here you get leg kick. When I was younger and we did Kempo, they would do you'd get if you were a kid, they would just kind of give you a little punch in the rib cage or whatever, and then the older guys you would get straight up like a fucking sidekick straight into your stomach. And you have to stand there like this, and they would just come down the line, just fucking blast you in your stomach over and over again. To the point like my mom used to be like, she used to be like telling full-grown adults, like, hit him in the stomach, hit him in the stomach. I was like, what are you doing? Like, I'm like, why are you telling people to hit me in the stomach? Like,
when I have my school, we're gonna give kisses on birthdays.
Kisses. I mean, I honestly rather do the whipping than like being thrown a million times. Like I watched some schools, they do the whole throwing, and I was like,
you don't know how to break fall. When you know how to break fall, it's not bad at all.
Dude, Oscar
still
got
things I'd
promoted to
rather-
black belt, ended up in the hospital because he got thrown.
Yeah, but he hadn't been break falling.
Yeah, right.
You think you throw fucking Jeff Glover 30 times and he cares?
Yeah, I mean,
That motherfucker's got a whole video just on break falling.
yeah.
That's true. That's one thing I learned, like in Muay Thai, when you get swept in Muay Thai, you
forgot
fall
about
from
that.
you fall from high up.
Yeah, and
You
it's
fall
like
from high
violent
up.
too. It's like
And
whipping
yeah,
down. Right?
and it's like you land on the
Do they
top
practice
part of your back.
Do they practice break falls there? Or they
No.
Just, they don't.
That's a TKO.
When
if
you're
you don't
getting
get up.
swept, as you practice, you're getting. But like, yeah, it's like I just because I remember thinking like, I'll just pick it back up, but it's like the wind just gets knocked right out of you.
Yeah.
Like it's like I remember the first time I got swept for like with a real authoritative sweep to the ground. My back hit the ground so hard that like all the
Knocks the wind
oxygen
out of
just
you.
came
Yeah.
out of me, and I'm like, oh god.
And it's probably surprising because you weren't expecting it. Whereas like
And
in
it wasn't,
jiu-jitsu-
yeah, exactly.
In jiu-jitsu, you know it's coming.
You know it's coming,
Yeah.
and a lot of times it's from being driven back, and you know it's coming, so you
Yeah.
kind of roll
Yeah.
into it. This was just like, okay, you kick
Da, da,
gets
da, boom.
caught,
Oh,
and then
shit.
bop,
Yeah.
bop, and it's like kind of like I would imagine that's how it feels like to get tossed in judo.
So have you added that to your toolbox yet?
Oh
The
yeah,
sweeps and
yeah.
stuff?
Oh, I love
So,
it. Yeah.
Man,
Yeah, it's because you're sweeping from the front on a lot of those like
No, like foot sweeps, right?
Yeah, well, that's pretty much all it is. Foot sweeps
Yeah.
and like you can kind of do some stuff with the hip, but you can't get behind them and hip toss them or reap the leg or anything. But you can it's mostly trips and a lot of it comes from catching kicks or getting them when they're above throwing.
Are there like no? Obviously there is. I was gonna say are there tournaments, but of course there's because I remember we
Yeah.
went to one. There was that Muay Thai tournament, and there were kids.
Yeah,
just
they
going
have.
at it.
Yeah,
Were
they
they
have.
on the fucking floor? When
Yeah,
they were
yeah,
doing that?
yeah, dude, it was
These motherfuckers
crazy.
were getting brained on a wood floor.
Yeah, it was crazy. They were going hard too. I was like, holy
Oh,
shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's, they have like technical tournaments where it's like no knockouts and it's like semi-contact, but semi-contact is like
you get
you
kicked.
get
You're still getting fucked up. Yeah.
and then they have like full contact fights.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Did you ever compete in jiu-jitsu?
Yeah, I've done some competitions.
Have you done
yeah.
any competition in Muay Thai?
The only competition in Muay Thai I did was we had a night where like a fight night
Oh, I
where,
remember
where
I
it was
saw
like
that,
a heavy
yeah.
sparring
Yeah.
type of night, and that was an experience.
Really?
I'd never been hit that hard in my life, man. This kid snapped my head back like
Wow.
with some jabs, and it was like I didn't like. It was one of those things. I was like, okay, I just have to keep kicking.
Yeah.
And it was like, man, getting hit like that. But having that in an adrenaline state was weird.
Yeah.
But it was fun. It was super fun. But yeah, it was. I think we had another one of those too, where we just have a fight night where everybody gets an opponent and do it and. Yeah.
Do you ever get in those scrambles like you're lucky I can't take your ass down right now?
There's times where it's like it depends because the people who put it on me are like I don't know if I could take them down in that
'Cause they're so
situation because they're
Yeah.
right they're good and there's a guy Big John there who he just started jiu-jitsu at Fight Sports, but man, he is just like he's a big strong dude and he can throw them, and it's like getting just comboed by this guy. It's like you can't you have to basically wait until they're done throwing you before you can do anything, and then it's like okay, it's like if I do get in, I run the risk of getting the knee or getting the elbow, and it's like maybe there's those dudes I'd have no choice but to try.
Yeah.
Because it's like otherwise I'm getting KO'd.
You know, there's a guy who's moving to Menifee. I don't think I've ever actually met him, but he's friends with Cody. You know Cody, big dude. With the
Yeah,
his head?
yeah.
It's his boy. He's at the rank of crew, and he actually teaches Muay Thai at a jiu-jitsu gym in San Diego. But he's moving up here. I'm really interested to try to take some privates from him and see how it goes and shit like that. Just because I can't commit to going anywhere because I'm on that path for jiu-jitsu right now. But I'm interested to learn how to do some striking and stuff. And I've seen that dude like on videos fighting fools, and like might be interesting for you to try to see a different perspective from him when he comes up here. But I'm really excited for him to come up here and do some of that shit because I've wanted to do Muay Thai before I even knew what jiu-jitsu was. Like I grew up watching fucking Van Damme.
And to all right, then we start light and then we
Yeah.
we start going hard.
That's what's the biggest lie in jiu-jitsu? Let's go light.
Let's go light.
That's
yeah,
funny.
yeah.
Fucking Louis was rolling yesterday and he picked little Omar. He's like, let's get one in. And little Omar was like, ugh. And he was like, "We'll go light." And I was like, "What's the biggest
What's
light?"
the- yeah,
And he said something to me, but I was like, "You're gonna get this motherfucker right now. Don't try to lie to me. Say you're gonna go light with this guy." That's why I didn't come in, because I think I could frame now. I think I'm at the point where I could bring a frame back up. It's only been a week, but I think I can frame again. But I was like, I know it's gonna start with the frame, and then I'm gonna try to come up on someone, and then I might get caught. I'm just gonna get fucking hurt.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Good times. Anyways, I think we're probably
Yeah, the camera died in the middle of my fucking amazing story.
Yeah, we missed some quality shit
You missed
there.
it. That's
Dude, it was like magic.
yeah, that was gold right there. It's gone forever. Never to be heard of again.
Thank you for Nathan to come in, but we have a special surprise again for you. Another technique, and he's gonna high kick John in the head.
Yeah, so we'll release that probably later this week after this. If you guys are so stick
Wednesday,
around for that. I think Wednesday we'll probably have that put out. But yeah, appreciate you coming on. It's cool to have you on here.
Yeah, thank you
Talk
guys
about
for
your
having me.
experience and bringing up like Muay Thai. It's good to get like different perspectives, especially since you're training there so much. I thought that was pretty cool.
But we still don't have a definitive answer. What are you going with?
With what?
In the streets.
In the streets. Well, I mean, I got to start striking. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, so it's like, we'll see how that goes. It's kind of.
But then back to the original argument, Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, they're striking.
But
God,
are we training?
forever.
We're not training that though, really.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Anyways,
Like,
guys, thanks for watching. Leave a comment, hit the subscribe button, share it, all the good stuff. Nos.